Okay, hello to all of you. In this video, I will explain you a little bit about a very nice application of IoT systems. And it's about an IoT-enabled parking system. So it's a simple model that I will explain, but it's very interesting to understand and to see the type of applications that we may have using IoT. So the purpose here is to build this IoT-enabled smart parking system that will send data about free and occupied parking places and will allow reservation via this web or mobile application. So through internet, you can reserve one place in this parking. Basically, this is the idea. And the behavior is, imagine that we have uh, this amount of parking slots. For example, in this case, you can see we may think that we have 4 slots, and each slot will be installed with some sensor, in this case, an ultrasound detection sensor. And so using this sensor, we can detect whether the car is in the slot or not. The state of each slot can be occupied. In this case, the distance measured by the sensor is in the range of 100 millimeters to 500, and will be free if the distance is more than 500 millimeters. And so maybe you may have some failure when the sensor is dirty. The distance could be less than 100 millimeters. Okay, so if a car is detected at a specific slot, so the system will publish the latest data to the MQTT broker also. And so you may have two type of users here. Administrator, he will access the system and see which is the state of each slot. And when driver accesses the system, so he will try to uh, reserve one parking slot. Okay, so because this is an assignment, I will not show you the whole answer to this, but I will, in order to give you a clear understanding of how you can imagine that something like this works, and give you some hints about how to solve this problem. I will explain you using this case here using codices. Codices of I have explained this in other videos in my YouTube channel, and in fact, Codesys is a platform that you can use to develop software using industrial um, programming language. Basically, it's this platform that uh, it's useful to write and to test programs that are compliant with international standards in terms of programming and all these things. So this is why I like very much, because when you if you use this program and you are writing software which is following some this standard, so it is very easy to take the same program to different platforms and different type of hardware or whatever. So, and it you can use this to simulate real-time systems. In this case, I am not using real-time, but you can use this to simulate near real time. So in case you have this type of things, you can use this codices. Of course, in the case that I am proposing here, I am proposing to use only Python libraries, which is more interesting because in that case you can use any many type of different platforms, okay, and you don't have to use this one. But using codesys, I was able to write this solution that I will present here. And it is interesting because you can see the different cases, how this can work, what are the problems, and how can you improve. And it, based on this solution that I am proposing here. So you see that basically we have two things. Here you can imagine that this is here, this in this this first part here is the view that some administrator may have of the system. Okay, he will be having this um, like he can see the state of the sensors, he can see the state of the car, and he can see here uh, the state of the slots. Okay. Uh, Also here you may have this that this can be the view that may have in some app, for example, yeah, mobile app, or some web application also can be there. And this is more for users, the driver that he wants to reserve one of the slots of this parking. Okay, so how it works? Imagine that I am here, I have my car, and I want, by the way, here I have uh, written this program only for 2 slots because, well, it's just to show you an example, but you have to, you can write this for 4 slots and even more because, well, parkings usually have many more slots. So in this case, I am only using 2 slots. And so imagine that I am here. Okay, so I log into the app, my phone, or whatever, and then I ask to reserve, okay, 1 slot in this parking. So I will do it. Okay, you see that the system will reply. I will be like having this through MQTT communication. I will have this slot allocated variable. Okay, so it says that my car number 1 has been allocated slot number 1. So when I know that if I go to this parking, I have to go to slot 1. So imagine that I now I have my slot which is reserved, and I'm going to this parking, and then I go there. So finally, this sensor here that I will assume that now that is working perfectly, it's not having any failure. Okay, so will detect here. Of course, I have to simulate that. I have to do this because I have to simulate that the uh, the sensor is detecting when my car is here. And you can see that the state of slot 1 has gone from 1 to 2. So this is the code that I am using in this case. You can use any other case or other code if you want. But for me, I am considering that state 0 is when the slot is idle, it's not occupied. State 1 means that the slot is reserved, but the car is not still there. Then you have state 2 when the slot is, the car is actually there, in the slot. Okay, and okay, so that's it. Finally, I do my business, then I have to go back. I take my car. Here you see this, you have now state 0, and the slot allocator also is 0. Okay, so it works like this. Now, if another car is here, he will do the same. Slot allocator number 1. Okay, I did this. I can in fact allocate randomly, for example, but here I am using the this series. I start by allocating the first which is available. So in this case, as you can see that car 2 was allocated number 1, slot number 1. And then, okay, so this car comes here and then goes perfect. So let's see, for example, if this car is coming here, okay, now, and then I have this car here, another car 1. You see, the reservation is done here, okay. So now car 1 was allocated slot 2, okay, and then so this car will come also here. Now both cars are in the slots, okay, and then okay, they will go. So it works like that. Uh, of course, for example, I have had some rules. For example, if I have this reservation, okay, I do again as many times. I cannot have more than one reservation here. Something that you can do also. And if I have here, okay, this also, okay, you cannot have um, more than one reservation here. Okay, so one interesting case is, imagine that in any case, for example, we have failure because in this sensor or something happened in this slot. So you can see that this slot is going to state 3, which means that this slot is not available, okay, to be occupied. So if if I want to do some preservation, okay, I will be allocated slot 1 only. This cannot be allocated. And if somebody is trying to have more, that's not possible because this one is not available, in fact. Okay. So this is the way that it works. I hope that with this video you have a better understanding of what you have to do. And so let me just show you the secret of this. So the secret of this program, the way that I am doing here, is that I am using a state machine, in fact. So in the industrial language, in the standard, the international standard, they call this a sequential flowchart, in fact, SFC. But basically, it's a state machine. And you can see that, in fact, what for me, the state of my slots, it's I can model, I can represent the state of my slots with this state machine. So each time that something happens, for example, when reservation comes, I go to the next step, next state, okay, and like that. So I think that this is something very that maybe it could be a little different from the if you think about the normal way of programming that you may be used to. Okay, maybe you are not used to this type of programs, But I can tell you that once you know how it works, it is very easy because the way that this state is, or this state machine is running. So basically, what you are doing is that you are modeling how your system should work, and by doing this model, you are in fact writing the control program. Okay, so hope that you have now a better understanding of this, and see you in the next video.